G'day and welcome to the Hunting Connection podcast. My name is Zach Williams and I am your host. Here we'll connect you with hunters, fishers and outdoor enthusiasts from around the globe. This podcast will share hunting and fishing stories, including past experiences, and tackle the tough hunting stereotypes our community faces. We hope to be a positive influence to those outside the community while also having a laugh along the way. Hope you enjoy the podcast. G'day and welcome to another episode of Hunting Connection podcast. This is the first episode coming out of my new house and in the shed, so I do apologise for any background noise. It is currently raining at the moment. There is a road behind the shed, so you will hear cars and that's coming past. Hear bird noise in the back. So until the podcast studio side of the shed is built and insulated, it's going to be the current situation for the podcast for the next couple months most likely. So I do apologise. It's been chaotic moving. I've been not struggling to get guests, but struggling to get organised and organising guests. So I was just playing around with the podcasting gear in the shed setting up, and I reached out to one of my good mates over in the States, Dustin. Dustin, how you going, mate?
I'm doing great, man. I feel blessed to be here, and I'm excited to chat with you, and I've been looking forward to getting on your podcast for a long time now.
Yeah, it's not going to be the last time, but you're a busy man. Like I said, it's always been a struggle with international guests due to the time difference and doing the podcast out in the house at the old place. So I couldn't really get up at midnight and do a guest spot that worked for the international guests. But you're up. What time is it over there? Where are you currently?
Right now, I'm in the Panhandle, Florida. It is local time is 7:12 p.m. It's in the evening. This time of year, I'm fishing every day offshore typically, and just getting in where I fit in, waiting on hunting season.
Amazing. You're an interesting dude. You're bloody all over the place constantly. You're hunting or fishing 24/7. It seems like you bounce between Florida and all over the states. It's awesome. So let's get a background. How did you start hunting and fishing and the outdoors? Where did you grow up?
Well, I remember being a little bitty kid, man. I was probably 3 years old. I have a lot of memories from my very young childhood. And I remember one time I walked into my parents' bedroom, and it was the first time I'd ever seen my dad's rifle. He had a Brown and A-Bolt 7 mag, which I pack around and shoot whitetails with now. But I remember seeing it, and I was just infatuated with it. And my mom saw me looking at it and pointed at me and said, "Do not ever get near that thing." And it just flipped a switch in my brain, and I just asked Dad, like, "Why do you have this?" And he said, "For deer hunting." And I can remember till this day the picture in my head of what I pictured deer hunting would look like. And one fall day, he asked me, he said, "What would you rather do tomorrow? I have the day off. We can either go and play mini golf or I can take you hunting." And I was like, hunting, 100%. And we went and sat in his little Bronco. He had like probably a 1995 Ford Bronco. And we just parked in the field, and I was sitting in my little booster seat in the front seat, and we didn't see anything. And I don't even know if I was tall enough to look out the window, but I loved it. And then that was the only time my dad ever took me hunting when I was little. Fast forward a couple years, I was 6 years old, and my mom and dad were actually going through some hard times and they were getting a divorce. And I was hanging out with my uncle, and my uncle took me hunting. And we were in a box stand. And I was young, man, so he didn't want to give me a big gun or anything. So he let me shoot his 22 mag, and I shot out a shoebox, hit where I needed. He said, "All right, you're good, let's go." And I'll never forget sitting in this box stand, sitting in my Uncle Mike's lap. And I was looking one way and he tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, "Get ready, here comes a buck." And I looked over and here he came. He was about 100 yards walking to us. And I'm getting my gun ready and I got it propped up and he's like, "Wait on him to turn broadside." And he never did. And my uncle's like, "When he stops, just take your shot." And he was facing frontal, and I shot and I felt great about it. And my uncle, and he took off into the woods. My uncle's like, "Oh, you missed him." I'm like, "No, I didn't. I hit him. I know I did." He's like, "Let's just sit and wait and see if something else comes out." I didn't hear the bullet hit. The deer didn't react. He just spooked off. And it got dark and we climbed down and he wanted to go to the truck. He said, "I'm 1,000% you missed it." I said, "No, let's walk over there anyways, please. I know I hit him." So we went over there looking for blood, and sure enough, there we saw the trail through the woods that he cut in on off of this field, and he shined his mag light down there, and I saw the white of the rear of the deer and seen his tail, and me and him both were just on cloud nine, man. I ran up there, and I remember that it was so heavy. I picked up his head, just looking at him, and holy cow. And I've been a little killer ever since, man. That was when I found the meaning of life.
That's amazing. So what state did all this happen in?
That was in Georgia. Southwest Georgia is where I'm from, where I'm born and raised. After my mother and my father got divorced, my mom got remarried to my stepdad, who was a farmer. And I'll tell you what, for a little kid that loved to hunt, that was the absolute best thing that could have ever happened, because that opened up a lot of farmland for me to have at my fingertips to be able to hunt deer and hogs.
That's awesome. So you're about, what'd you say, about 6 when you shot?
Yep.
That's amazing. That's so good.
With a 22 mag, straight on, 80 yards.
Do you have photos of this buck that you took from back then?
I do. I'll send them over to you.
That's awesome. That's so good to be able to have that. I've got hunting photos of myself, shooting an air rifle and 22s at that age. And me with my first goat, I would have been probably 10, maybe 10. So for you to get a deer when you're 6, I got my first deer when I was 18, 19. So
oh, wow.
Before then, I didn't even really know that we had deer here in Australia, like most people. And
no kidding.
Yeah, we got 6 species for the international listeners. We got fallow deer like behind me, red stag, rooster, sambar, hog deer, and chital, or as you guys call them, axis. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, being able to get onto a deer when you're 6 years old is badass. I've got a 6-year-old son. My youngest is 6, and he's way too noisy and impatient, and to sit down there, to hunt deer with me, let alone. And he's been coming out since he was 6 months old. As soon as he could hold his head up, I've been taking him out in the backpack, checking trail cameras, and walking around with a bow, and until bow hunting was banned here in South Australia. And yeah, your face says that.
Bow hunting's banned now?
In my state, in South Australia, for the past year and a half. So
I'm sorry for your loss, brother.
Yeah, man, I got a rack of bows sitting behind me. Have to travel interstate to go bow hunting now. Bow fishing is still legal in my state though, which is somewhat good. You can still get out and chase the old mud marlin. I love getting out chasing carp. I really want to get to Florida, where you are now, and go chase some clown knife fish and a bunch of other stuff in the Everglades there and the swamps of Florida. That's a dream of mine to go chase iguanas and whatnot.
I got the connections, man. We could make it happen. That'd be sick.
I know you do. I just got to get the time and money to do so. My annual leave my long service leave will be kicking in 2 years. So when I'm at my job for 10 years, I'll start getting long service leave. So that's when I plan to key in some more international hunts. So, and I know you've got the connections.
Let's go.
So your hunting started off with chasing deer, where did it progress from there? Like you said, you're constantly hunting during hunting season. For people that don't know, what do you do during hunting season?
So our style of hunting is much different from a lot of guys in the Western US and Canada and Australia, New Zealand. You know, most people get out there and put a backpack on their back and they hike and they earn it. Spot and stalk, it had always been a dream of mine to do that style of hunting. Where I'm at, it's all wooded and farmland, and we don't have much public land at all because the population's just so thick with people here and houses and stuff here in the eastern U.S. So our style of hunting is sitting in a blind or sitting in a tree stand and just being patient. And that's one thing that really built me as a person because I learned patience from a young age. But after being 6 years old and shooting my first deer, and then my mom remarrying to this farmer, he was awesome, man. And I always told him how bad I wanted to hunt alone. And my mom never wanted me to hunt alone. And he was like, come on, just let him. And he bought me a little youth model 7mm 08. And I was 9 years old when I shot my first ever deer solo. And I was sitting up by this little creek bed and looking at squirrels through my rifle scope and heard something turn around. And all I could see was the back of this doe coming up the creek bed. And I shot her at probably 10 yards when she stepped up out of that creek bed. Just adrenaline dump like crazy. And man, every year mom would let me take out of school on the last day of season to hunt. And later on in life, I started working at a deer processor, which here in the U.S., well, in the southeastern U.S., we can kill 12 deer a year. So we have butcher shops that are dedicated to wild game, feral pigs, and deer. Amazing. So starting at 13, once again, my uncle that I first started hunting with, when I was 13, he started taking me to a deer processor that he was skinning at. And one of the longtime skinners there taught me how to skin deer. And when I was 16 years old, I could skin a deer completely in 2.5 minutes.
That's awesome.
And I learned how to cut, age meat, all that. So hunting now to me is not only about being out there and finding the game and taking it, but also taking care of the meat and providing for myself, my family, and my friends. A lot of people don't like eating game, but if it's handled correctly and with care, man, I think it's right up there with a good old beefsteak, honestly, man. And plus, you know where it comes from, and it makes it even better. So my entire life growing up, it's just revolved around hunting and putting meat in the freezer.
No, that's
hopefully
that's the way to do it for sure. And I'm very jealous that you guys have game processors. Over here, we can't take a deer that we've shot to a butcher or anything like that, because there's strict regulations on what they can do in their shops. I'm sure if you've got a friend that's a butcher and he's got a home set up, he can do stuff for you, but you can't pay someone to break down a deer for you, turn it into sausages and salamis and metwursts and as you guys call it, summer sausage over there. We can't do that here, which is a shame, because deer are an introduced species here. They're non-native, so we've got no seasons, no tags, 24/7, 365 if you've got the property and you got the time to do so. So, and
that's a great trade-off, though.
It is, but right now and the past few years, our state government and other state governments have been hot on deer eradication. So at the moment, it's just started the helicopter culling here in South Australia this year. So they get 4 or 5 guys up in a helicopter with shotguns flying around, spooking deer out of patches of scrub and blasting them in the open with shotguns, which is just absolutely horrific. But they don't collect the game afterwards. It's just they shoot, they leave to rot. This time of year, fawns are half a year old, so they're just past that point where they can defend for themselves, but they're getting blasted out in the middle of the paddocks, and people are finding younger fawns starving to death, and deer with bullet holes in antlers, like shotgun holes in antlers and, struggling deer that are half dead out in the middle of paddocks. A couple of years ago we had an incident where a couple guys were hunting private property because all we have here in South Australia is public. 1 second, my little fella's here. Sorry about that. Joys of podcasting with kids around. He wants me to go play Mario Karts with him. But yeah, as I was saying, they were a couple guys were hunting on private property, which is the only property, like the only place we can hunt here in South Australia for deer. And the helicopter flew over this patch of scrub on private property and started blasting deer around these couple of guys out hunting. And what turned out supposedly happened is the government had access from the previous owner, but they didn't realise that the property has changed ownership in that time. So in that year from where they went out shooting last time to then, the helicopter, the government didn't even contact the new owners and say, hey, we're coming out, or the old owners. So there was a couple guys hunting, and next minute this helicopter with shotguns starts blasting deer all around them. They're supposed to have thermals and all sorts to make sure what they're shooting is deer, but yeah, it's just an absolute waste.
That's a shame, and yet you can't hunt them with a bow.
Yeah, yep. Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
It's crazy, man, and it's just one of those things. Like I said, the Australian government's pushing for eradication. Like even the hog deer that we have here in Australia, they're critically endangered in their home country across India and Sri Lanka and all of that. We've got a good population of about 3,000, I think it is, in Victoria. We have a hunting season for them. We have tags for them to, keep their populations in check. But, they're a critically endangered species, and we're the only country in the world that has a wild population of hog deer that you can legally hunt. So, and they're pushing for eradication of them. We've got organisation called the Invasive Species Council, and they're pushing hard and harder lately to push for the eradication and demonise hunters and just pushing for total eradication. It's crazy.
Wow, I have no words for that. That's horrific. It really is. And not only that, but I mean, it's so much better to introduce a young child to the outdoors and take them out there and be able to put them on something like that and just doing away with all that. Oh, I don't understand it. I don't understand governments, and man, I just want to live away from all of them.
Yeah, you guys are lucky with your management. Your management is 1,000 times better. But yes, most of your species that you guys hunt are native species, so it does make that a little bit different. But there is certain non-native species that you guys have, like sambar in Florida. I think there's some in Florida. There's some in California. You've got gemsbuck in New Mexico. You've got ibex in New Mexico. You've got aoudad in New Mexico and Texas. Like, you've got all these species that are non-natives, but Sika in Maryland. There's all these awesome introduced species that you guys manage accordingly.
It's funny that you mentioned the sandbars in Florida. St. Vincent Island is the island that they are on. It's a 12,300 acre island, and I was literally there last week with my high school buddy shark fishing in that pass, catching we caught a big sandbar shark. But I was telling them about how those sandbar deer live across the pass, which is only maybe 300 meters for you Australians. But they draw tags for those. I would love to get out there and hunt those, but whenever hunters do go there, there's like 150 of them on this island. Everybody's running around with rifles. I don't know if I would be keen on that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, sorry about the rain. It's just picked up here for people listening. It's crazy. But hey, you know where to come if you want a sambar, mate. We've been chatting for years. You've got an open invitation to come down here and chase deer, and the same as New Zealand with Huck and the boys down there. So we need to get you across the pond to go chase stuff down here.
We'll make some great YouTube videos with that.
Yeah, man. Let's chat about that. So your current work, you're bouncing between what, helping as a guide or actually guiding?
Well, so the scenario is pretty complex right now. Really, right now I'm just freelancing. I've just started my own business guiding shark fishing trips from the beach here in Florida. There's a lot of ordinances against it, so I'm not going to be able to stay as busy as I was hoping to. Also freelance for different charter companies. After doing this for 6 years now, I have several friends that they'll call me whenever they need me. I can run their boat as captain or go and mate for them. And then during the fall, for the past 6 years, other than 1 year that I almost got married, thank goodness that didn't work out. Bad situation. But I've been going to Alaska and working as a packer. Last year was going to be my first year guiding solo. But the guy that I was working for, he was an awesome guy, and he had a moose hunter lined up for me, but we were just not seeing any moose sign in that area that year, which is unusual. But he ended up not sending out that hunter, which I have much respect for him doing that, because a lot of these outfits would rather just take the money and say, oh, well, but so I have not done any guiding one-on-one yet. I've just been an assistant guide and been a human pack mule. This year I was going to go back to the Wrangles in southeastern Alaska, but the turn that life has taken, I think what I'm going to try to do is get out of guiding and just focus on personal hunting, because I love hunting with all of my heart. And don't get me wrong, going up there and guiding and working for outfits is incredible. I've made so many incredible friends and met so many amazing people, but there is just nothing like spending your own time out there. And what I'm sacrificing going to Alaska is September and October and November, which are our prime months. And I have a lot of animals on the bucket list, and it would just never happen guiding. So I don't really have a career other than hunting and fishing and wherever I fit in.
That's the dream.
it is the dream. One of these days I would love to get married and have a family. And that was something that I wanted to do a long time ago whenever I first got out of high school, but things didn't work out to be that way. And I'm very thankful for that, because my experiences that I've gotten over since graduating high school in 2019, I wouldn't trade them for the world. I've lived the life of several people. It seems like I've hunted all over the state of Alaska because I haven't worked for the same outfit twice. Reason being is one day I want to move up there, and I was just trying to get a really good education for myself whenever I do move up there and have a good idea of where to hunt. If any of the guys that I work for right now are listening to me, they're probably like, dang it, there's another resident hunter in our area. But no, man, public land, it can be tough up here, but I find it to be quite rewarding whenever you do find success, because you really do have to work for it and play smart if you're going to come out successful here.
Yeah, I could imagine. Sorry, I'm jumping between putting my mic on mute and just so that we can hear you better with this rain in the background, but the joys of podcasting in a shed.
Yeah, no worries. I don't hear any rain at all. It's great sound quality on my end.
That's good. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Alaska, definitely a dream place of mine to hunt. Seeing the photos and videos that I get from you through Snapchat and Instagram for the past 3-4 years, however long we've been chatting, it's just been
than that, I think.
Yeah, probably. It's gone quick, but yeah, it's just absolutely incredible seeing what you get up to. Because 1 minute you're on a snow-covered freaking mountain, with pack horses and whatnot, and then you're down freaking Florida or wherever you are chasing hogs, and then spear fishing and shark fishing and boat fishing and doing all sorts of crazy shit. It's incredible.
I appreciate that. Yes, spear fishing's definitely been prominent here lately. I've had a couple of awesome dives the past couple of weeks. Actually, yesterday we went down and it was opening day of snapper season, and yeah, we've had some great dives.
What'd you get the other day? Was it a cobia or something along those lines?
Yeah, we shot a cobia. Me and a new friend of mine, he's from South Florida, grew up diving. And I met him through my friend here in Panama City, who's also a charter captain now. I met him my first year in Florida at our dive class, and I haven't dove since I was certified in 2020. And then once this new friend came into the friend group, we've been diving like crazy. And I was very nervous about it at first, but I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable underwater now. And yeah, the other day, him and I, we were fishing this big wreck, and we got sharked 4 times in a row. And he looked at me, he's like, "You want to go down there and see what's eating our fish?" I was like, if you want to, yeah, I'll go with you. And so we loaded up our guns and jumped in the water, and we were ascending on this wreck. It was in 105 foot of water, and he was a little bit ahead of me, and the clarity, you know, it levels out once you get past the thermocline, and we're coming down on this wreck, and I see the outline of 2 big fish on bottom. And it was not great clarity, so I thought they might have been Goliath groupers. And we got closer, and he threw up his gun going to aim, and I'm like, holy cow, these are cobias. And I pointed my gun at the one that was under me, and I was shooting a small gun with 2 bands, and I'm like, I better not shoot this fish because I might get pulled into this wreck. So I didn't shoot mine. And he shot his as the fish was swimming away. They were sleeping on bottom, and they had been there so long they had dust settled on top of them. And his fish kicked off, and he shot it, and it was a good shot, but the shaft went all the way through, and the fish was just going crazy, man. They're on bottom, and he was trying to catch him, and he couldn't. And the thing's zigging from side to side, and I'm trying to get a follow-up shot on him, but it was kind of a scary situation because the fish was jolting so fast and sticking so close to my buddy. But finally went off to the side, and I got a really good headshot on him. And man, we were like 2 little girls, man. We were screaming and laughing underwater and hugging each other, and brained him and swam back up to the top. And man, what a great day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it.
You sent through the photos soon afterwards, and yeah, those smiles on your faces were incredible.
Oh man, there's nothing like it. I mean, it's hunting to the extreme because it's almost like you're on a different planet, you know, and there's no gravity whenever you're buoyant neutral. And man, and things can get serious quick, especially when sharks pull up on you, and especially, you know, you have to stop at certain depths for your safety stops, and it definitely gets hairy. I'm definitely a lot more comfortable on land.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I've had a fair few Spearos on, and some have told some crazy stories. One fella from down here who's just moved to the States as a diesel mechanic, who's finding his way through Montana. You know, he's just got residence, well, not residency, but he's getting all these tags. Not citizenship, but, you know, work residency, whatever that falls under. So he's finding his way. You know, he's just done his first elk and deer season and his first turkey season, and he's absolutely loving it over there. But he told one story down here, because South Australia is notorious for great white sharks. One of his mates, him and 2 other guys were out scouting for a spearfishing competition, and one of his mates got taken by a great white right next to him, and the story was freaking insane.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm much happier in land than, you know, if I go spearfishing, I'm only going where I can stand up, so I'm only chasing small fish.
Fair enough.
Even though sharks can still get you in those shallow spots, I feel a bit more comfortable than going a bit deeper.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, you mentioned before that you've still got a lot of dream animals that you want to get. What would be your top 5 dream animals? You know, money not being an issue, anywhere in the world, where would you go and what would you chase?
Man, it depends on what day of the week you ask me that. for the longest time, I've been wanting to move to Alaska to establish residency there and to start a new life up there and live subsistently. And I would love to get a mountain goat and a sheep up there. And also somewhere out west, I'd love to get an elk one of these days. A mule deer was on that list. Luckily, I have some great friends in Canada that hooked me up with a mule deer hunt of a lifetime. I just posted that YouTube video 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And that was a nice buck. It was an awesome mountain hunt. And then followed closely by that is anything you can put me on in Australia. And I would love to go to New Zealand and shoot some stags and do some mountain hunting there and get a tar and chamois. I think that would just be incredible. But yeah, man, everything. I want to knock everything off the list that I possibly can.
So do I. Yeah, New Zealand will suit you like a charm. You've seen how wild those Kiwi boys are, and the things that they get up to. You know, there's that story that one of them tells where over 2 days they got just over 1,000 turkeys doing turkey management on a property.
That's incredible. That girl I almost married, she was from Canada, and I'm thinking, holy cow, I might be able to buy a General Bighorn sheep tag. But now that reality's kicked in, I should probably be doing my wife hunting in New Zealand.
New Zealand or Australia will suit you well, I reckon. You know, at least if we get you an Aussie bird, you'll be able to come down here a bit more, and we can get you out on some game down here.
That would be incredible. New Zealand and Australia both, man. The things that you guys do, sometimes I wonder, man, should I just, instead of moving to Alaska, just move to the complete other side of the globe and explore that area? I mean, I have much respect for you guys, and I think everybody else here that I know in the U.S. that know Aussies have a lot of respect for you guys too. I know I've met quite a few of them working on sport fishers as mates, you know, blue marlin fishing and all that. Very, very hardworking and very, man, you guys are just killers. I mean, a lot of my buddies in Alaska that I hunt with, I talk to them about you guys, my Aussie and New Zealand friends, and every one of them that's ever hunted with one of y'all from down there, they're like, man, those guys, you don't want to hunt with them because they will outwalk you for days on end.
Yeah, it's crazy like that. Sorry, little fella's just come out again. He's bugging me to play Mario Karts. It is midday Sunday here.
No worries.
You could probably hear him. Sorry, Mario Wonder, not Mario Karts this time. But yeah, Aussies are a crazy bunch, but you Americans are pretty nuts too. You know, I think that's why we suit, especially like the Southern America. Well, I can't even just say the Southern Americans, because I've met lots of people from the north as well that you just bond well. Last year we had a fella named Damien come down here just after the rut, about this time last year, and we took him out chasing rabbits, hares, foxes, and even managed to get him a fallow under spotlight, which is legal here. We can hunt deer under spotlight. So driving around this 1,000-acre property with, you know, the rifles hanging out the windows, spotlights swinging around, he's like, dude, this is the most illegal thing that I've ever felt like I've ever done, you know? It's crazy that this is legal here. It's like, I can't wait to go back home and tell all my buddies about, you know, being able to shoot deer out of a car while spotlighting it in the middle of the night. Like, this is absolutely mental. So we got him a young fallow doe, and he's absolutely stoked. You know, we got the photo, a tailgate photo for him to make it feel a little bit more like home. But, you know, this fallow deer hanging out the back of a tailgate, and he's there holding the rifle, a cigar out the mouth, absolutely loving it.
Oh man, that's peak of life right there, it sounds like.
And yeah, he's a good dude. You know, he's up in Maine, so he brought down a bunch of goodies and, you know, maple syrup and stuff like that. You know, we still got the jar of maple syrup that the kids use every weekend on their pancakes, and yeah, it was absolutely awesome. He brought down some Maine blueberry jam as well. So ended up, because he couldn't take the meat home with him, I ended up with the meat from his deer, and ended up doing like a blueberry glaze on the fallow backstrap that he shot. So combining that Australian feral deer with the Maine blueberry jam, just absolutely perfect. It was so good.
Wow, sounds like it. You guys get fancy with it.
A little bit, man. I like food. Hey, you don't get this fat by not liking food.
That's right.
Like I said, this is only going to be a shortish episode. We didn't really have too much time, but I needed to get something out, and you said, yeah, I'll jump on. You're like, I'm just editing a video, but hey, I can squeeze it in. So I really do appreciate that. The wife's going to be home from soccer with the oldest in 15-20 minutes, so I better get in and get the youngest dressed for the day and all of that. But we're definitely going to be doing a few more podcasts. You've spoke about doing your own podcast, and so I think this is a good start for you. Doing a little guest experience, and then we can jump in and do some deep dives later on when I'm all set up on this side, and then hopefully we get you across the pond and we can do some in-person around a campfire, after you've just shot your first sambar or fallow or whatever we get you on, mate.
That would be incredible, man. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, man. This has definitely been the highlight of my week. I don't really get to talk much about hunting, because especially not down here, because all my boys here are just hardcore fishermen and they can care less about hunting. But man, I get fired up talking about it.
Nah, I can tell. I do feel like we're cutting our conversations short, but like I said, there's going to be plenty more in the future, but for me and you, especially with this setup. And when we get you down here, I've only been bugging you to get your ass down here for the longest time, and I know Huck and Sam and the other boys in New Zealand are trying to get you down there too. So hopefully within the next year we can get you off American soil and get you down here.
I got to start grinding on the shark fishing grind.
Do it, man. Don't forget, you guys get more for your money down here too, because the dollar value is more. So like the original American bloke we took out hunting here, we went past this deer farm, and he's seen a few red stags out in there, and he goes, oh, can we stop in there and see if he'd let me shoot one? And this is when we're on a sambar trip. He'd just taken we got him 3 species in the week and a half he was here. So we got him a sambar, a fallow, and then he really wanted a red stag. So he's like, let's go knock on the farmer's door. So we've gone up to this deer farm, and we're like, hey, mate, we got a mate from America here. We've just taken him out. We got him his first fallow. We got him his first sambar. What are the chances of him paying to shoot one of your red stags on this farm? And the guy's like, yeah, no worries, man. $800 Australian or $1,000 Australian or whatever it is. And he'd done the conversion, and he's like, oh shit, that's like $300 less for me for American. And then, he's like, to shoot something like this in America would cost me about $2,000. So fuck it, I'm shooting it. So this farmer's taking us around, and he's like, all right, you can shoot that stag there. So he shoots that stag, and the farmer loved it, he loved it, and yeah, it was a good laugh.
Absolutely, that sounds like a great time.
But yeah, so we'll get a couple more questions out just before you go. Like I said, there's a couple that I love asking people. How do you see the public views on hunting and hunters?
Over here in the States, I would say most of the people that I know are pretty like-minded. I come from a small rural town, and hunting is typical for people in my area. I would say the common man hunts. And down here in Florida, with all the people that I take charter fishing, most people that like fishing also like hunting as well. But once you get into those bigger cities and stuff, so a lot of people can turn their nose up to it. But luckily, I think with all of the modern influencers that we have that I mean, I'm not a big fan of everybody on the hunting show, because I don't want the public to all get into hunting, because it makes it harder for me to find places to hunt. And then I get out here on public land and, oh, wow, everybody else is out here because they saw Steven Ranella do it. But I shouldn't be that way. I mean, it's everybody's world, and we should all share it. And I'm glad that others get into the outdoors and enjoy it and find joy in doing that. But I would say for the most part, here in the States, that in my area at least, we have a really good outlook on hunting, and it's a tradition. It really is.
And what would you do to change the general public views on hunting and hunters?
Well, I really like to emphasize what I'm doing with my kills. It's not like I'm shooting them to eradicate them or because I find joy in killing things, because it's absolutely not that. I just love being out there, and I think more people should get out into nature and just appreciate the small things, because in today's world you have so much short, gratification or whatever from, I mean, people just sit there and scroll on their phones and stuff, but there's nothing like sitting on a log out in the woods and looking at the birds and watch the squirrels chase each other. And then all of a sudden, here comes that thing you've been dreaming about every night for a year. And I don't know, the way I really like to just tell everybody how much it means to me to have that experience and to be able to do that, and then tell them how I take care of my meat and see people enjoy it. And, it's not getting out there and trying to destroy nature, but it's taking value from it and putting it to use for what, in my opinion, it was put here for by whoever created this earth.
Yeah, man, 100%. And finally, what is hunting to you?
Hunting to me is a gift straight from God that has really directed my life, because I live very passionately, and I just try to chase my passion as hard as I can, and all of it revolves right back to hunting. And I'm extremely grateful for my uncle and my dad and my stepfather introducing me to all of it, what has turned me into what I am now. If I didn't have the ability to hunt, I really don't have a clue in the world what I would be doing right now. And I don't know what else I would find joy in, because I don't watch sports. I don't watch TV. I play guitar, but I'm not all that much into music. I like to hang out with buddies, but I'm not one to always hang out with buddies. I only have one thing that is constantly on my mind, and that is the next time I'm going to get out there in God's green earth and look for that piece of antler sticking out of the brush.
Yeah, man, that's I couldn't agree more. I'm very, very similar. I've got lots of mates that do different things, but like you said, one thing on mind constantly, and that's when I'm getting out next. But really appreciate you coming on, man. If people have enjoyed what we've chatted about, where can they find you on social media? What's your Instagram? What's your YouTube?
My Instagram and YouTube both are named Run to the Outdoors, all one word.
Easy, man.
Run to the Outdoors.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And we'll get on soon and finish this conversation when we both have a bit more time and dive into some of your hunts and fishing trips.
Sounds great, man. I look forward to it.
Can't wait. Easy, mate. Have a great night. Catch ya. Bye. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Hunting Connection Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our discussions and gained valuable insights into the world of hunting, fishing, and the outdoors. To stay connected with us and never miss out on an update, please be sure to follow us on social media, all at Hunting Connection Podcast. We appreciate your support and would love for you to share the podcast with your friends and family. Don't forget to tag us in your hunting photos on social media and let us know about your experiences. Your feedback is invaluable to us, so please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Together, we continue growing and delivering more captivating episodes for all hunting enthusiasts. Stay connected, stay informed, and keep pursuing your passion for the hunt. Until next time, happy hunting.